Hey, this is Jim McDonald. Welcome to episode 190 of the PowerCast. This episode is Chris Bell. Chris is in to talk about some of his current projects and one that completely fell apart for him. If you think about it, I'm wearing a West Side versus the World t-shirt that I picked up from my friend Michael Fahey. I actually paid for it, which is what you should do when you're trying to support things instead of like expecting free shit. Anyway, without Bigger, Stronger, Faster, I don't think that we'd be looking at a West Side documentary. Chris Bell did something. He brought powerlifting into the mainstream in a way that had not been done since it was on TV in the 70s by including powerlifting and West Side Barbell and Louis Simmons in Bigger, Stronger, Faster. It's a turning point, really, in my mind, for the current popularity of powerlifting. One of a few, and I think that we've been at the scene of the crime a lot of the time for when those turning points happened. Anyway, I picked this up at the Arnold. The Arnold was amazing. So many people came up and talked to me and thanked me for the show, and I appreciate that beyond the point that I can actually tell you. It makes a big difference to me. This is sort of a culmination of all the things that I've been involved in doing in the powerlifting world in super training since the beginning, since 2005, and even before that, as a matter of fact, before super training came together. So anyway, thanks for all of you who came up to talk to me. Next week's episode is the much anticipated Brian Alsrew episode with Alan Thrall. Much anticipated, much delayed episode, and I'm sure that you will be surprised that actually Brian asks us nearly as many questions as we ask him. So it's a sort of tables turned episode of the show, but I think you'll enjoy it. Please like and share this episode, and we'll see you back next week. Oh, and by the way, if you ever kind of wonder where the hell I am when I do these things, this is my office. This is where I come to do the show. I need to post-production on the show. I have a lot of equipment and shit here that just doesn't fit in my house anymore, and there's no place for it anywhere else. So, and I need a place away from my house and from super training and all that. It just wouldn't work to try to get this stuff done anywhere else. So anyway, thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week. Support for this episode of the PowerCast comes from HowMuchYouBench.net, home of Mark Bell's Slingshot. Bench heavy with no pain with Mark Bell's Slingshot. Apparel for strong people at 8manstrong.com and bodybuilding.com. Bodybuilding.com is the world's largest fitness website and supplement store. Bodybuilding.com has free fitness plans for every level. Visit bodybuilding.com today to become your best self. Happy to welcome back Compex USA as a sponsor. Go to CompexUSA.com and check out all the great muscle stim products there. We have all used them. They are the best we've ever used. Use the code PowerCast at checkout to get 28% off of everything but the lowest price model. CompexUSA.com.
He's just going to record. He doesn't give a shit.
I don't give a shit anymore. I have 0 fucks to give.
Jim McD, not giving a shit, just recording. Smelly's on his phone. Silent Mike, he doesn't care. Anybody going to start this podcast up or what?
I don't know if anybody's even listening.
There's a lot of cameras out here. Should I just pull out my GoPro just to fucking make it a trifecta?
There are more cameras. You know, like people always get mad because they're like, oh, there's so many cameras in every gym nowadays. And it's like, go to super training. There's more cameras
per
than people,
yeah.
Which is crazy. It's like, you know, like Silent Mike's got 3 camera setup going on, filming himself, and then he goes home and edits it all. But lifting gets done in here, and that's the big difference.
Have you seen that crazy selfie stick that guy made that's got like 4 cameers?
No, but I could imagine somebody having it in this gym.
Is that Matt Vincent you talking about?
No, it should be.
I picture Ensema having that.
The fucking little sphere that you can shove like 12 GoPros in.
Oh, yeah.
That thing looks fucking sick.
Yeah, the 360.
That's
Yeah.
a VR,
I just added
virtual reality.
Yeah.
I just added another microphone to this mix too. Look at this.
Pretty soon people be...
What the fuck? Whose
I'm
microphone is
recording
that?
everything. I don't even know where this is going to.
Pretty soon
anymore.
there'll be
don't
like
even know.
virtual reality, like powerlifting
Yeah.
YouTube videos or something.
Yeah.
It's going to be so gross.
Rogan was going real deep with some of that.
That's
Talking
gonna be
about
so-
like
it's gonna be
pain
so
sensors
gross.
and pressure sensors. And
Yeah.
you start to like watch someone else lift and then your knees fucking hurt like you're squatting the weight.
I'm worried about
On
the
VR?
whole.
Yeah, why not, right?
Well,
if they put
yeah.
sensors on you and then like, oh fuck, Mark's pec ripped. Oh, you feel like a mini pec rip.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Probably
Virtual
not, no.
a virtual stimulator.
Yeah.
If you could virtually
Not simulator.
Yeah.
Stimulator.
And you know who's going to break the ground with that?
Porn.
I was going to say,
I heard
nobody
they have it. I think that's how we first talked about Pornhub here.
Yeah.
Is because they had the twerculator, which is like a butt that syncs up. It syncs up with your video.
Yeah.
And so you're watching the video, and a plastic butt's doing the work.
The numbers.
They also have like a thing where you can like
That butt's great. We got to get one of those.
they have like remote
could share
control, like you can tip the girl and then the vibrator goes off.
Yeah,
and
so
things
that,
like
it's
that,
just like
you know?
that. Yeah.
no one here is going to wear condoms.
Shout
so
out
that's
my
the problem.
man. I think it was Timothy Della Ghetto was sponsored by Pornhub. He's a YouTuber. He was sponsored by Pornhub, and they sent him the fucking
I think it was
twerculator.
something like 43 billion views in America alone or something like that. on
for Pornhub. Oh my god.
Well,
It's
people
not just me watching anymore.
Yeah, it's like people talk about their
It's not just-
YouTube channels and how many followers they have. You never see like a Pornhubber come out and be like, I'm a Pornhubber. I got, you know,
yeah,
like,
I got the most subscriptions on.
followers.
Well, I don't know
Like,
how you become a hubber. I don't know how it works.
I'll try.
A hubbercraft.
I don't know. They just throw you on there. I
I'm
think.
not against it.
I don't know.
Sometimes there's one-offs. There's like
There's
people that
some
are on there for like
amateur.
one time, and then you can never find them.
Can
again.
you just upload on Pornhub? Like,
James?
could we have a? Could
I
we
think
be
so.
a Pornhub creator?
No, yeah, you can upload. You can upload like whatever
We
you want,
could.
but
We
that's so
could. You and me?
embarrassing
A
to like be
certain-
known as the guy that uploaded like all the, you know.
But not if
Or
Yeah.
are you an American hero?
if it gets a lot of views.
Are you an American hero? if
So
you
we
uploaded?
could film something right now and just upload it to Pornhub.
I don't
like a
think so.
powerlifting video.
No,
I don't know
the
what
barrier entry is higher than YouTube, I think.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The
Yeah.
barrier method to
Yeah,
entry.
there's
Is that-
a-
We'll break the barriers on Pornhub if you know what I'm saying.
I know. Well, we got to go outer space. That's
Yeah, it's hard to get in.
yeah,
That's what I hear.
especially when you're in outer space, you
Stretch
got
out
to
the
anchor
bait.
yourself. To
a
something.
certain somebody that was on this podcast that nobody could understand. He said he knew a guy that was a producer in porn, and the guy just invited him to like be in a movie. He's like, "Why don't you just be in a movie?" He's like, "We'll just set it up next week." And he was like, "He's like, I don't." He's like, "I'm not into that." He goes, "Well, you could just be with your own girl. Like, it doesn't really matter who it is."
Just
like,
cameras.
That's the process. There's no like audition.
the guy was like, "No, you'd be great."
No real like audition.
like, oh my
process,
God.
No,
Yeah, I don't know if that's a real compliment.
I don't
There's
know
the
either.
casting couch. I think that's got some reality to it.
Some legitimacy.
Does it now, Lauren?
Huh? Chris, have you ever been on a casting couch? How'd you get on Joe Rogan the first time?
That was a casting couch.
Casting couch.
You know, actually, the way I got on Rogan was so weird because you had kept asking me. You're like, we should get on Rogan. Like, we should go on Rogan.
Yeah, remember we kept tweeting him. We
And
tweeted him
kept
to death.
Tweeted him to death, and he didn't. There's no response, and then all of a sudden
We got nothing.
he hit me up, and they were like, well, his assistant hit me up and said, hey, you want to come on the show? And then I had to say, yeah, I want to bring Smelly too. And then they were like, yeah, Smelly's cool. So that's how we got on there. It was like a weird coincidence, you should say.
I was
And,
just a tag along.
well, and yeah, you were a tag along, and then I was on there just recently talking about Kratom,
Right.
and that was a fun episode because it was just kind of a one-off thing, just so Joe could actually get up to speed and get some knowledge about that.
Yeah, you could tell he was just looking to understand what was going on with it.
Yeah, he said to me, I didn't do any research before this. I just kind of want to see what you say, about it, and I think that. That was kind of smart on his part.
Way to do your due diligence, Joe.
Yeah. Well, like if you look it up online, all you see about Kratom is negative. The only things that you'll see are things that are coming from the norm, from the standard, and that's what we're sick of in this country is the standard and the normal thing. The normal thing is that if you're in pain, to take Tylenol and Advil, and we know that causes a lot of problems with your liver and your kidneys down the road, and we want to stop using that, so we're using Kratom instead. And then the government wants to take that away from us. So we're just not letting it happen. That's all. That's what the movie's about, is just not letting
Silent Mike, this guy
Not
hops
letting
from
people take
this
your
guy
shit
hops
away.
from one drug
What's
to the next.
Trump
What's
doing?
going on with this
yeah,
guy?
what's Trump doing with Kratom?
I don't know what Trump's going to do. I mean, I think
He's just going to buy it all up probably and sell
I
it.
noticed that Trump has really stiff shoulders.
He-
He can't move his arm like past here.
He needs a power lift.
His
Yeah,
like range
he's
of
got
motion is
something
worse than mine, and
Maybe
he's never
this-
benched anything. I don't
Maybe
think.
the supple leopard could help him.
I think he needs a slingshot.
I don't think he's ever benched anything.
Why is he so aggressive on Twitter?
Because
He's like a 5-year-old kid on
Yeah.
Twitter.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Like, I don't like to talk politics because I don't stay that up on it. I'll listen to NPR here and there to try to pretend like I'm an adult, but he just goes way too ham on
Yeah.
Twitter. Like, imagine if we went that bad on
Well,
Twitter.
look,
like,
if
we'd
you-
lose followers
Well, you
left
never-
and right.
you never
I
know.
think we
like,
just
maybe-
probably did. Just as you said that just happened.
Well, you never know. Like by the time his term is finished, maybe he shows us a new way of being a president.
Oh,
you
so
know?
it goes to Snapchat.
So
Well, just-
September,
yeah.
October next year.
Yeah,
That's
you
pretty
ne-
much what's
yeah.
going to be up, right?
Yeah, it may be, but you never know. I mean, you don't like.
Yeah.
Sometimes people show you a new way. Sometimes at first people are like, "Fuck this, fuck that. This
Yeah.
is stupid," and then other times it breaks through and people are like, Well, shit, it's working.
Yeah, I think it's the stuff.
Maybe
that's,
he'll find
like,
a rhythm that works. I don't know.
feel like when he's talking about things that are important to the country, it's cool. It's relevant. It's like, okay, this is what he's going to do with this subject matter. But when he's tweeting about like Saturday Night Live,
talking shit on it,
not being funny when it's hilarious,
Yeah.
like that.
It's just because it's about him.
Alec Baldwin does a great job as Donald Trump. I don't know what Donald Trump's
I
talking
think
about.
I think it's good back and forth though. Who cares?
Yeah, it is good back and forth.
Some people are like,
think
oh, doesn't he have other things to be into? But
not just that.
What everybody was looking for was some kind of a disrupt.
Yeah,
And he is absolutely a disrupt.
Sure, it's
I just
exactly-
sometimes disrupts work out, and sometimes they don't. You
it,
know,
it
so
exactly
who knows?
goes towards what I just said. Is like people are sick of the standard. They're sick of the normal thing.
Yeah.
And whether that be Donald Trump or Kratom or like I
Silent
just was
Mike.
talking about a ketogenic diet
or
and trying to
VR pornography.
fighting people on things that you like. All growing up, I liked powerlifting. I had to argue for that being like a cool thing, and now all of a sudden it's in vogue.
You're
It's
gonna
cool,
get hurt.
right?
So you need to argue against it now.
Yeah, I need to argue against
That's
it.
the
Now
hipster
that
move.
it's popular, now I got to argue. Now
I-
I gotta hate it.
Yeah.
That's the hipster move.
I was into it before everybody else. Now I can hate it before
so now
everybody
you
else.
can come back and say, oh, I had double hip replacement, double knee surgery. Don't do that shit. Don't powerlift. You get hurt.
Well, that's the thing is, a lot of people always want to put
What the hell?
Little Smoky.
Who's this little bearded guy?
A lot of people, they want to
Get
put it in
here,
a box
Smokey.
and
What do you have to say
say
hi to everybody.
Next time, Smokey,
Say
could you have
something,
could you have a drone drop off the coffee so we don't have to see your face?
I have a drone, by
He
the way.
looks, he looks pretty good today, I think. For him, he looks pretty handsome.
Not to totally interrupt, but Little Smokey is our advertising manager, and if you'd like to advertise on this program, he's
Shoot
the
him
guy
in
you
the
should talk
DMs.
to.
He really likes DMs.
Yeah, go to littlesmoky.com.
You don't know what's there.
Yeah,
Little Smokey ST on Instagram. You can hit him up there.
and he is named after those little tiny sausages that
Yeah.
you see at the grocery
Mostly
store.
because his physique emulates one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's chubby. That's kind of your fault. You're like coaching him.
I know, but like he keeps feeling me up and like saying how big my back is, but he doesn't look this way. I think he can blame his parents.
Is he maybe
doesn't
skipping
look this way.
Is he maybe skipping? Is he skipping out on some of the training? You think? What's
I think
going
he's
on?
skipping out on some training and heading to some buffets or buffets.
Ice cream buffet. What do you think about an ice cream buffet?
Remember,
What about Pop
remember we
Bar?
were at, so
Pop
we
Bar
were,
was
we
great.
actually were at a wrestling match, and Smelly was wrestling. He was shredded at the time, and he was fighting Samoa Joe, who's like a big heavy. He's
I thought you were going to bring up Jimmy Snuka.
no. Well, Jimmy,
R.I.P..
we'll talk about Jimmy Snook in a minute.
I've heard
Hold on.
about Samoa Joe.
Yeah, Samoa Joe. No,
Kicks
it
the
was
shit out
it
of you.
wasn't Samoa Joe. It was the Navajo Warrior.
The
And
Navajo
our
Warrior.
friend-
That wouldn't fly nowadays.
So our
huh?
friend was in the crowd, and he was
Probably
drunk.
not.
Our friend was in the crowd drunk. Boosh. His name's Boosh. He worked for Warner Brothers Records. He was hammered, and he was yelling, "The buffet master! Get him, buffet master! Get him!"
To you?
No, to the fat guy.
To the
Call him
guy
a
who was
buffet
wrestling.
master, and it was embarrassing because we know the guy.
You know
we're all
both.
friends.
Yeah.
And he's like,
He's like, that should be that guy's
Just
name.
yelling
He's like,
and-
he's the master of buffets. We're like, what are you talking
and
about?
the guy saying it is so fat too that it's like,
Yeah, he
becomes
was
That's
hilarious.
that's the best when
He's
people
like
are sloppy.
350
He was at
pounds,
least
Yeah.
over. He was
hammered.
well
Yeah.
over 3 bills.
Yeah.
Oh,
People's perception of themselves really come out like that. Like
Well, when-
sloppy people calling other
Yeah,
people
well,
fat.
he sees a fat wrestler,
Yeah.
he's gonna go for it. He's like, I get to make fun of this guy.
Oh my.
This is my place,
What do you got going on now, Boar?
I got a lot of shit going
Everybody
on.
keeps asking about movies and what the hell you're doing, and like, let's take it one thing at a time. What is kind of going on right now?
I'm quitting everything. Just
No.
it's over. No. No, basically, I am working on a documentary about Kratom. I think we've talked about it a little bit for the people that don't know.
Give
very
us a little
quickly.
rundown, yeah, on what that shit
Kratom
is.
is a plant from the coffee family. It looks like coffee, but it doesn't act like coffee. It acts more like opiate painkillers in the body. Acts more like Vicodin in your body, but it doesn't have acetaminophen in it. It doesn't have caffeine in it. It has alkaloids in it that actually, it's called 7-hydroxymetragena or metragena speciosa. These are like technical terms that you don't need to know.
Latin, I believe.
Yeah, but the active ingredients, basically alkaloids, are active ingredients. And the active ingredients for this particular plant work like opiates, but they work like opiates about 1/100th of a strength of an opiate, right? So when you take this will relieve pain. It'll allow you to get off of opiates. It'll allow you to people that are on prescription drugs like I was and they're addicted to them. They have no way out and they can't see the end. They can literally just take this off the shelf and detox themselves. The problem with that is you're not getting like the education that you get when you go to rehab, and you're not getting the fellowship that you get at AA. And AA is not a perfect system, but it's a free system, and I recommend it to everybody getting sober. I think like it's another component of it. I think you have to have.
Wouldn't you even go further and just say everybody, period? Like, not everybody needs to go to a place where they can identify with addiction and get better from addiction, but maybe everybody needs to self-reflect a little bit.
Everybody needs therapy.
Everybody could use a little bit of that. I believe I'm a believer of that.
What's the third step then after like Kratom? So maybe you go down the wrong road and you're taking the wrong things, and then Kratom helps you get off that. But then like if you have to take Kratom the rest of your life, is that a good answer too?
I think that you don't though.
So here's if you're a normal person, right? Like just everyday normal person, and you go through and you have a surgery and you end up a drug addict, right? So you take Kratom to get off of those drugs because you're no longer in pain.
Yeah.
But then when you have people that are like me who are on it because they were in pain, right? And then they get off of it and they're still in pain and the pain problem still persists, like, yes, then you take Kratom forever.
Yeah,
right? And if I have a choice between being in a lot of pain or taking Kratom forever, I'm going to take Kratom forever because it's not doing anything negative to me. Whereas like if it's a prescription opiate, over time, I need to take a higher and higher and higher dose.
Yeah, people go down a dark path quick.
With Kratom, we don't know exactly. Like, I haven't taken a higher and higher and higher dose yet, but we don't know if, like, after taking it for a year, maybe I have to take a bigger dose, or maybe.
Or what about any effects after 5 or 10 years? Like, even like creatine, they just figured out stuff about 10 years down the road that it won't kill you because no one cared about creatine in the 80s. Thing
I should caution everybody about with Kratom, like everybody needs to know this, is that 99.9, which is like basically every company except for one company, with Kratom, they're not for human consumption. And the reason that they're sold not for human consumption is because they don't go through the proper steps to be an FDA supplement. When all these supplements nowadays have to go through what's called GMP. It just means good manufacturing processes. And with good manufacturing,
what that means?
Yeah.
What did you think that meant? No, it's on my shit. I didn't know what it meant.
It meant GIMP.
No, I didn't know what it meant. I saw it, but then it's the abbreviation's weird because it's like capital G, lowercase M, and then an uppercase P or something.
It just
weird.
means somebody manufactured it good.
Good job.
You just got to keep standards of places that you're holding things that are going to go inside your body, right? Like factories and stuff. You can't have rats running around.
With everything, we know that a personal training certificate doesn't make you a good personal trainer. It just makes you a personal trainer. But at least there's some sort of
you need something.
There's some sort of like thing in place to just go, okay, you're not completely
new.
I think all of us can agree too. Just using common sense again. Like we talked about a week ago about inflammation and how a sandwich isn't necessarily going to cause knee pain. Like sandwich equal knee pain, not really.
No.
Right. But anything like an overdose, like if you have tons of gluten,
but
you have
gluten
tons
over time,
you just have tons of extra calories, and now you're overweight. That's probably leading to your knee problem.
I think gluten's horseshit.
Yeah, well, it can be. There's whatever one way or the other. You can prove that it's not, and you can prove that it is. Probably.
I just think people are so impressionable. When people aren't like deep into this world, we're so deep into the fitness world, so it's hard for us.
Well,
to
it's definitely too severe
with gluten. You look at gluten, right? And you look at the guy that wrote the report that said, if you're not a celiac, if you don't have celiac disease, that gluten may affect you negatively, right? And he wrote this article, and he put it out there as truth, and everybody believed it. I think his name was Dr. Gibson.
Yeah.
And then 3 years later, he wrote an article that retracted that said, I was wrong. Right, but nobody read the "I was wrong."
Yeah,
that's everything. The gluten-free industry became a $15 billion industry based on that first paper, not the second one.
Yeah.
The second one that detracts from it,
of course.
People hide that and throw that under the rug because they don't want to believe that. Well, maybe gluten isn't. Now, gluten does have. There is something about gluten. There's these things called FODMAPs that interfere with your digestion that may play a role, but we don't even know yet.
Yeah, I mean, coffee may play a role in I shit myself when I drink coffee. Like I don't drink it.
FODMAPs.
Yeah, but that's but that's so many.
Yeah, there's people that say every coffee has mold in it.
Here's the thing. If you're going for optimal performance, maybe you stay away from those things. Like maybe you just try it. Who knows? I mean, then again, I could say, don't eat FODMAPs, right? Don't eat bread because it has gluten and FODMAPs and all these bad shit in it. And then I go to Gold's Gym, and I walk to the back of the gym where there's one platform where all the Olympic sprinters do their power cleans.
Yeah, and they're eating
and
Wonder Bread.
I asked them, what do you guys eat for a snack? They're like, peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever they get their hands on.
Right off the fucking shelf. Like, no, you know what I mean? Like, they're not eating high performance. You know, so when we do all these studies and tests, we got to remember like the person themselves.
Yeah.
Like, are they an athlete?
Yeah.
First of all, like, are they performing anyway? You know, like, what is, you know, for you to perform in a deadlift, you're an excellent deadlifter. You know, what does it take? If it takes bread for you to perform,
too, you know, using those sprinters as an example, those are healthy people, and the people that are
people
that are healthy and are already ahead, maybe they don't have to worry about it as much. But maybe somebody who is really struggling with weight loss, maybe they do have to think about pulling away sugar, or pulling away certain carbs, or even just not eating bread, not because of the gluten and not because it's carbohydrates, but because they love bread.
Well, it's 100%.
And then they're eating bread with, you know, every sandwich they have has mayonnaise on it.
But
they just have tons of extra calories.
But how, like, so-called experts or TV people, like, explain that to the world isn't accurate. Because they'll say that. They'll say sugar's causing your inflammation and sugar's making you fat. And so when you're a 40-year-old lady that's never done any fitness or nutrition in your life and never studied it, and you hear that, you're like, that's fact.
Yeah,
like, why else? They have no reason not to believe it. Same thing you mentioned with the article.
And it's hard to wrap your head around for a normal person. It's not sugar alone. It's not like carbohydrates aren't inherently bad. Sugar isn't necessarily the devil, right? Like excess sugar, yes, we don't want that. But like, there's a lot of things.
You don't want excess anything.
There's a lot of things that like a lot of people can deal with pretty effectively.
Excess protein can fucking kill you. Excess fat will make you fat. Excess coffee, you'll fucking pass out. Excess water, you die.
Exactly. I just started a ketogenic diet, so going like really, really low carbs. And the reason isn't to be like brag about I didn't eat carbs today, or the reason isn't to get shredded. The reason is because
put your piss stick on Instagram, right?
Yeah, well, I put my piss stick on Instagram. Yeah, fuck yeah.
That's the reason.
No, actually, no. Yeah, that's the reason. But
why no video?
The reason why I'm doing it is I went through a severe drug addiction, something that robbed my body of a lot of nutrients and basically made me very unhealthy, very fat. I was like 250-something pounds. I just started keto again. I actually did it to lose the original amount of weight. So I went from like, 250 to like 200. And then I went recently from like, I was about 204 sitting around there, right down to like, right now today I weighed 187. So I want to get down to like 170 and be lean.
And you and I have been playing around with keto style diets since like 1993 or something, 92.
I think we've been doing it since 94 is when I moved to Los Angeles. And when I moved to Los Angeles,
I was still in high school.
I was going to go to a powerlifting meet, right? I was going to go home and be with Smelly and Mad Dog. They were back in New York. So I was like, going to go back to them, and I was all happy. I was like, yeah, I got these new training partners and I'm all strong and I'm going to go back and show them what's up, until my training partner told me like, you can't come back here looking like that. You're too fat. Like literally, like just said, you're too fat. Ron Fedko he was my training partner. He squatted 804. He benched 526 raw, and he deadlifted like right around 800.
225 for 64 reps.
198 pounds.
One of the craziest things I've ever seen.
So this guy was a savage, right?
He's a fucking
and he
beast.
said to me,
beast.
He goes, here's your diet, right? You're going to go home, and you're going to go no carbs for like 3 days, right? Then on the fourth day, because you're going to deadlift on Thursday, you can have some fruit, because you're going to deadlift. Then no carbs for Friday. And then after Friday, you can eat whatever you want for 1 day on Saturday. And then Sunday, you got to go back to no carbs. So I was like, oh, shit, man. I get like 2 days. 1 day I can eat fruit.
It's kind of an old school traditional keto where they go about 3 days on and 1 day off.
Yeah,
or so.
and it was just kind of like based around my training. When I came back, when I left, I was 242 pounds. I was going to compete, in 242 and just cruise right in. I was like, hey, I weighed 242. Perfect, And instead, I weighed 196 for that meet. I weighed in at 196, and I won the California State Championships at the time, which was a big deal back then.
Mike O'Hearn was supposed to be there, wasn't he? And then he wasn't
Mike O'Hearn trained with us for that whole entire meet.
And then he didn't show up.
He didn't show up. No.
Mike O'Tren. Disappointing once again.
But in Mike O'Tren's defense.
No, we love Mike O'Tren.
He trained with me that whole time, and he was actually stronger.
He's a monster.
For the most
I saw him
part.
do 500 on the incline the other day.
But what Mike O'Hearn did for me when I was younger was pretty funny. I had a goatee, right?
And he said, knock that shit off.
Yeah, he's like, what are you doing with that goatee? He's like, shave that goatee and you'll get laid. And I was in college, and I literally shaved it, and that night, boom,
he was like, hey,
boom, what? I don't get it.
He met Lauren, is what he's talking about.
Exactly, I met Lauren that night. Mike O'Hearn, he was the whole reason behind it. No, but seriously, like I had guys in my life then, men and
guys in your life.
I've had men in my life.
I gotta go.
You were trying to switch back? Is that what it was?
Hey, look.
Okay, anyway.
I've had people in my life.
I don't blame you.
That
O'Hearn's
were
a good-looking guy.
Really good people like Mike O'Hearn, like Ron Fedko, who basically gave me the tough love. And I feel like that's what you do here at Super Training. Like, you don't just be like, oh, hey, you're really good, let's improve. It's like, you're like,
you should
hey,
hear Mike going off on people.
Yeah, you're like, hey,
you hear him like yelling at
kind of
people.
suck. You're fat and lazy.
Yeah,
and
everybody
weak.
here sucks.
Well,
Yeah, and you're cheap, you're cheap too. And then like that's how you inspire people. So it works. You know?
But he won't necessarily do that. It's only when they'll say, oh, you know, I want to kind of do this. And he'll be like, what the fuck? We just talked about your goals. Now you're talking about something that goes against it. Why'd you even ask me for help in the first place?
Well, you used to have a guy in the gym that wanted to deadlift 900. I remember asking him, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy wants to deadlift 900.
He owns a pizza place now.
So I go up to you and I say, hey, what's up with this guy that wants to deadlift 900? He's like, oh, he can't even do 700.
Yeah, he missed 585 every week.
That's so far away. What would make him?
That's why
because when I hear he's going to do 900.
Yeah, you think he's at 850. Yeah.
Some people like stretch goals.
That's right.
Yeah, I hate that.
That's what I need, some stretch goals.
Let's get back to this diet thing a little bit more and try to make more sense of it because, you know, when I'm trying to tell people about these things, you know, you obviously are going to swerve people a little bit because that's social media. Like, that's just the way it works. You're going to post a picture of cheesecake occasionally and post a picture of not eating carbs and celebrate this and celebrate that. And it's going to cause confusion sometimes. But, you know, what you did the first time to lose weight, if you think about it this way, if you're just to tell someone, you know, don't eat any carbs, then you're just limiting their options. So it's like, hey, you fat bastard, stop reaching into your pantry every 15 minutes when you're watching TV. Mike has a rule that he shares with a lot of people and says, just don't eat in front of a screen. You know, tips like that are the things that can really help you lose weight. So it's not, again, I always want to make sure that people understand it's not the carbohydrates that need to be necessarily demonized. It's being in some sort of self-control to eat the amount of calories that are necessary to lose weight for yourself.
And why would you say not to eat in front of a screen? What does that do?
Yeah, you could eat until you're fucking blue in the face.
Well, you're watching like the Cowboys game
Yeah,
or
you
whatever,
just keep going.
watching the Cowboys lose.
Chips. Yeah, you're done.
Keep eating.
Ben
right,
and
you know?
Jerry's.
And then when
I
your
wish.
team loses, you keep eating more.
You eat
right?
more. You go grab the next
I think
fucking pint.
that's an issue, yeah, for a lot of people. For me, I actually always eat in front of a screen, which is bad. It's something that like just you saying that goes like makes me think like, well, maybe I shouldn't always take my meal into the living room and try to eat it there.
And even further upon that, you're supposed to kind of get rid of your electronic device. You're supposed to really concentrate on your food and actually chew it. It's supposed to be more anabolic, supposed to digest better.
It's, you know, there's a lot of tools out there too, and that's what I like about keto is that
In this industry, there are a lot of tools.
yeah, there are a lot of tools in this industry, but there are a lot of material tools that you can actually use to help you with keto nowadays. Like there's these things called cave shakes. They're just like little shakes ready to go. They're expensive. They're like $8, but they're keto right out.
You have some things that make your life more convenient.
Meals, the Quest meals are great. They have like chicken stew. They have chicken Alfredo. They have cheeseburger hash. They have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. They have cinnamon buns that taste amazing, that have no carbs in them. Or they have some carbs in them. They use they get creative. They use some sugar alcohols and they use some fiber.
Blow out your backside.
Yeah, it can blow out your backside. I mean, you have to be careful.
You got to be careful.
So, you know, when you're doing this, you also want to use like MCT oil, and that can be very dangerous for your stomach. You don't want to go more than a tablespoon at a time, which I found out the hard way. I actually ended up in the emergency room.
Oh my God!
From shitting?
I was sick, and then I took too much MCT oil, and it just killed my stomach too bad. So people need to be aware of that. Those are.
They were like, "Sir, you blew out your asshole. That's what happened here. You had too much oil."
See,
Let's just put that right back here.
Being honest about things and those bumps in the road are part of the journey. Like I always hear people talk about failure all the time. Like I literally hear everybody talk about failure. And I never talk about failure because I don't believe in it. Like I think that everything is just leading us to the answer. You know, like the only way
it's just part of it.
The only way you fail is if you have no idea like where the fuck you're even trying to go. Right? That could be failure. But like if you say like, look, I'm trying to get in shape, and I'm gonna do this ketogenic diet, and I'm gonna take a ton of MCT oil. Whoops! I blew out my asshole.
Whoopsie!
You know, let's go the other way.
Shit on the wall.
Let's try it with a different fat. You know, whatever. But what I'm saying is like you have to take some bumps and bruises in order to get to where you want to be, and you don't look at it as failure. You just look at it as like that's my your attempt at a deadlift that you didn't get, or what, you know, like why didn't you get it? Oh, because I should have stretched more. I should have done this. I should have done that. You know?
Figure something else out.
Million different reasons, right?
Another side note, something I just heard the other day. We talk about alcohol and diets, and it's apparently not so much the calories in the alcohol. It's the fact that there's something in alcohol that makes you hungry. Can you imagine like drinking without eating?
Yeah.
And
everybody goes and gets hammered.
Exactly.
I think it's just a lifestyle thing. That's what everything breaks down. You know,
when I was drinking every day, Like I couldn't, I had no control, if this makes any sense to anybody, had no control over what I ate. So like what I would do would be like, I would eat like literally keto all day. I'd be like eating, but that keto doesn't work if you mess it up. Like it's actually detrimental if you mess it up because you have way too much.
You throw ice cream in there.
Yeah, you have way too much fat in your diet.
Over
so you have
everything.
Way too many, calories in your diet. But when I used to, drink every day, what would happen was I would wake up in the morning. I'd be like, look, I know I got hammered last night, but at least I didn't eat bad.
So now I'm going to have some cardio.
So I'd walk into the other room and I would see the pizza box there.
Oh, no.
And I'd be like, I have no control over like ordering food or doing anything if I'm drunk. So taking that out of the way, first of all, I think it was probably 1,000 calories a day in booze. And taking that out of my life for a couple of years, just like the amount, like the inflammation, and like Lauren will tell you, like the other day, this is going to make me sound like a pussy, but the other day I got really sick from the MCT oil and I was doubled over in pain, and that's how I felt every day when I drank, and I started crying. She's like, why are you crying? I'm like, this is how I felt every day. Like, why would I do this to myself? Like I get choked up just talking about it, but I felt like that every day. And now I just want to feel well, right? So how do we feel well? How do we feel better? We do a diet, we take in nutrients that are going to help our mind and help us think. And like people are like, oh, where'd you come up with that idea? You got all these ideas. It's like the past week that I've been on back to keto and just like supplementing with fats and like I can feel the difference. Like I can feel the difference in the ideas that I have, not just the ideas that I have, but the quality of the ideas. A lot of times we have ideas in our head and we're like, oh yeah, and it just kind of floats away and goes, off in the distance. These are like ideas that have been coming to me, and like I can wrap my head around them and start telling stories and doing things that I want to do. So I just feel better, and it's only been like 2 weeks since I've been doing keto. So it's like
I think improving your health, getting momentum, heading in the right direction with losing weight. I think a lot of times people just overeat, and I think that I think that our bodies are consumed with digestion a lot of times, and you're slower. You're not going to think as well when you eat a lot, and when you have momentum heading towards that direction of better health and losing body fat, I think your mind works a lot better.
Yeah, well, just
whether it's keto or not.
It's just confidence, like you said. You'd wake up at 2 a.m. and see a pizza box. You're like, man, I fucked up again.
Yeah, I screwed up.
Now you wake up and you're like, oh, I did my workout. I ate well. I fucking did this project, that project. Today I'm gonna do the same.
Big difference on like when you wake up and you go to the gym and that's the way that your day starts. It's a huge difference in just in everything. And so like even if I don't. Like right now I have a blown out shoulder. My shoulder is torn 65%. My triceps torn 65%. I can go in the gym.
That's your bicep.
But I know, but I'm talking about my chest. But I can go in the gym and I literally can only work out with 135 pounds on bench press. 225 on deadlifts because my hips and my back just kill. Nothing is heavy. Nothing is impressive. And nothing would even make you think that I'm related to him. But for me, it's like monumental. Like squatting, doing like a set of box squats, doing a set of 5 squats with 135 pounds on my back onto a box actually makes me feel so much better every single day than when I don't do it, that it's something that I've just said, you know what, I don't care if this hurts, I'm going to do it. Now, I can't do it like you guys do it, and that sucks. I mean, I think Jim knows.
I know exactly.
After a while, you dropped out of the game. Like, you're not doing what these guys were doing. Right? You're doing some stuff, but not what they're.
Yeah, because I just couldn't anymore.
And even them at their level, eventually, even though they probably say I'll never be that guy that stops lifting, eventually. There are some like 80-year-olds out there. He might be the 80-year-old guy deadlifting like 700.
Eventually, you're gonna make choices and shift your goals a little bit. Like if you don't really care that much about reaching a certain level of strength, why not do it in some different ways? Why not do your training in some different ways that help you get to some different goals, rather than being so worried about the max lift that you did.
My brother and I began 8 Man Strong with a simple idea: to encourage strength in this world, to bring back to life the grit found only in generations of the past. And while our brand has evolved since its founding, its core values have remained unchanged. We are here to promote strength, will, determination, and fight in people, to celebrate the strong and to inspire those that need it. This is what it means to put on the 8 Man brand. So wherever you find yourself today on your personal journey towards strength, we encourage you to always move forward despite any obstacles you may face, and we hope you will do it wearing 8 Man. 8manstrong.com, apparel for people who lift heavy weights.
Shifting gears a little bit, you touched upon addiction and stuff like that, and whenever we talk about that kind of stuff, here on the PowerCast, I always like to try to have people identify or give people information that they could really use. And how would somebody listening to this, somebody who's down and out, how would they identify that they really truly do have a problem? And also, like, what's the first step? What's step number one?
For me, honestly, it was like looking in the mirror and looking at myself and just going like, that's not who I want to be. Like, that's not the guy. My eyes were bloodshot. I looked like shit. I didn't want to be that guy. So I think, like, for people to realize, like, if they're not happy with who they are, just even a little bit, then you probably need some therapy.
Right.
If you can't make it on your own, if you can't hack life on your own, then you probably need some therapy. As far as like a drug problem goes, it's pretty simple. You ever missed a day of work? You ever missed an important phone call? You ever messed something up that you shouldn't have? You ever
to interfere with other aspects?
You ever let down a family member? Like there's like 10 questions that you can ask yourself, and you'll know before you even ask the first one. You'll know. Like, people know. They definitely know.
They probably know already. Yeah.
It's more about who has the courage to do something about it, and that's exactly what it is. If you are suffering with drugs or alcohol, it's not about being a pussy and giving up. It's about having the balls to say, hey, Smelly. Like, for me, it's the hardest thing to do. I have a problem. Like, I couldn't even tell you.
Right.
I had to have Lauren tell you. And I had to get so drunk and messed up that Lauren had to find me, and tell you,
Yeah.
And I was trying to do it on my own. I was able to tell Lauren, but I wasn't able to tell you guys.
Right.
I was able to tell her because I felt so close to her at that time. Like, it's all about who you're close to at the moment and who you feel comfortable telling. But if I had never told her, then you probably would never know. Too.
Right.
So I just think it's important to, like...
Yeah, I didn't know 100% what was going on. Your friend shared some stuff with me here and there, but I didn't...
was going on,
Yeah, I knew it wasn't good, but I didn't know exactly what was going on.
It's not normal, like, when people will... I'm sure you just heard stuff like, oh, your brother did this, your brother did that. Or, like, my friend Leland will call you, and he'll tell you, like, exactly what I did.
Yeah.
And he'll just be like, I'm... it's disappointing. You don't want to hear that, So... If you're doing any of that stuff, the easiest thing to do is find the person that you trust the most, that you care about the most, and just go to them and tell them, don't tell anybody, but I have a problem. And they'll help you figure it out, And if
they'll tell the next person, don't say anything, but...
Yeah. And if you can't figure it out, they can email me, because people do it all the time, and I'll get back to people until I can't get back to people anymore. My email is biggerstrongerfaster@me.com. biggerstrongerfaster@me.com. If you have any questions, don't email me a script. Don't pitch me a story. I am not fucking interested.
Silent Mike's got a wonderful...
and just so people know, I am not interested. I only do my own stuff. I'm only interested in doing things that better this world and can make people's lives better on this planet. I'm not interested in...
Speaking of scripts, Silent Mike has this script that he wrote. He's not sure who the lead...
Great idea. It's kind of like a Captain America meets Superman, and like the guy's young, he's 28, really good looking. I think he deadlifts 705.
Is he keto?
He can go keto or not. He's pretty versatile.
Okay.
So this guy's superpower is actually really interesting.
Yeah, he's really closely related to Pornhub, and he's taken the industry to the next level.
Well, his superpower is that he's got these just outstanding dance moves.
Just next
level.
But
Mike is just not sure. He wrote the script. He put it together. He's not sure who the lead should be because he's not sure.
It's like a coin flip, like Chris Pratt or like me, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
Maybe The Rock or you.
I was thinking Chris Pine.
Yeah, maybe.
What about
maybe?
He has amazing hair.
Yeah,
Chris Pine.
I feel like
amazing hair.
I feel like Gosling's so last decade.
La La Land?
Gosling.
La La Land, right?
Yeah, I think he's so like last decade, and we need a fresh face for this one.
Probably going to win an Oscar this year, though.
I don't even know. I don't know any movies.
La La Land?
Speaking of movies, you see La La Land?
I didn't. Good?
Neither did I.
I saw...
I don't even want to ask you about Star Wars. You're going to break my heart.
The new Star Wars? It was okay.
All right. I'll take an okay from you.
It wasn't
It's entertaining.
Yeah, I think it was entertaining.
Yeah.
I think
hated it.
I think they have
Hated it.
Well, okay, so what did you hate about it though?
Everything.
Did you like the first 15 minutes? Did you think that was kind of cool?
No.
Like when on that planet? See, I thought that shit was cool.
It took too long.
I didn't like it. Didn't have the thing in the beginning.
Yeah,
no scroll.
The scroll killed me.
I need the scroll.
I want to know what's going on.
CGI people were awful. Uncanny Valley, so hard.
I'll tell you what I liked. Like what I liked about it was that it had all the like nice elements of like Star Wars. Like you get to see all the fucking ships flying past cool stuff and blah blah. But the story itself was not anywhere near
it's not even what was promised.
Yeah,
what was promised was kind of Dirty Dozen style caper, which it really, really wasn't.
No, not at all.
And there was no character development at all for anybody.
You know, I saw it. I'll tell you what I saw. I saw it in New York City after we were shooting for like 3 weeks, and we just got done shooting, and it was like the last day of shooting, and then like literally we got done with our interview and raced over to Star Wars to see it the first day. And so for me, it was just cool. Because it was like
I wanted it to be good.
It was a treat, you know, to go see it. So I didn't really like sit there trying to hate on it. You know, I just
saw
kinda,
the Boston movie.
the
The
Patriots
Boston
Day.
bombing
The
thing.
marathon?
Patriots
What
Day.
did you think of that one?
I liked it a lot. I thought it was cool. There was so much stuff that I just didn't know. I don't know why. I don't know if I didn't follow it that much, but I didn't realize those guys were so aggressive with fucking throwing bombs in the middle of the fucking street.
Yeah, they were crazy.
And
but
it was really wild that the police went after them. I mean, I know they're going after them. They don't want to miss them or whatever, but it's rare to go after them
I'll
that
tell you
hard.
about,
They like hid in somebody's boat under a cover.
Dude, I'll tell you about
one guy that
about
survived.
Patriots
They must
Day,
have thrown like 16 or 20 bombs at the police officers.
I'm watching
It was fucking
Patriots
crazy.
Day, right? And Peter Berg did Patriots Day, so you know I'm watching it, going like, okay, I've worked with this guy. I want to go and tell him like, you know, how awesome this is. And so I'm watching it. And I'm like, there was a documentary that was done on HBO. I don't know if you guys saw it. It was fantastic. And I think that
What's it called? Can we plug it?
You know what? I don't know what it's called, but
Anyway.
I think that people should see both, and I'll tell you why.
It's on the marathon.
Because I thought Peter,
Those people were in the film at the end, right?
yeah, they were in the movie.
The couple.
But I thought what Berg was going to do is I thought Berg was going to basically follow that story of what the the documentary was. But he just basically did like a slam bang. Here's the guys. Here's what happened, and here's them getting caught. Which was like, we never heard about that shit on the news. And then, like, I actually thought it was fake. When I'm like, they're throwing bombs now? Like, and then I had to go back and look it up, and,
then it really
everything's
did happen,
100%
yeah.
factual.
They're fucking throwing bombs at the police.
Even the Asian kid that they had that was like, didn't know, you know, like, that got carjacked was like a perfect fit.
Yeah, he ran away and told them to fuck themselves.
Yeah, and at the end, they show the real kid that did that.
Yeah.
And he was really, like, I was like, man, this is a really bad stereotype of like an Asian American, because he's like,
But
It was
really
crazy.
happened.
They
like, oh, yeah, no, don't
Yeah.
take my car. You know, and you're like, oh
They
my
couldn't
God, that's like,
understand him.
you were like, this is really racist. But
Yeah.
then when you see the actual guy, he actually talked just like
Well,
the guy,
and the cops asking him some questions, and he says, you know, these are the Boston Bombers. He's like, wait, they told you that they're the Boston Bombers? He said, yes, and the tracking number for my car is, and he rattled off the number. And the guy's like, how do you remember that? He's like, I don't know, I just remember everything.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's definitely worth watching because you know, like what people don't think about when they see a tragedy like that, they just think about the actual tragedy. They don't think that tragedy, that's a lifetime tragedy. Those scumbags ruin the lives of like several people, like 17 people that are scarred for life, to have like no limbs.
17 and multiply that by 10.
Yeah,
you know?
way beyond that. Multiply it
I'm
by
just
50.
saying, those
with
are
their family members and
those
their
are the
sisters
people-
that have to take care of them. And
Yeah,
they're
exactly,
you know,
because
like,
it affects way more people than the
way
people
more.
it actually affects. And I
Yeah.
think that
Brutal.
I think
Brutal.
that as a country, we need to be compassionate about that stuff, and we need, you know, because I'll tell you the truth. When I heard about the Boston bombing and heard like 3 people died, and you know, like
We
I
were
was
supposed
17.
to be there.
Well, 17 people were injured, right? So
And there was 3 extra people, I think, that died in the chase, and they killed
Yeah,
a
one of
police
the
officer.
cops, yeah.
They
and
killed
when
the
I
security
hear
guy.
that, though, I think because of what goes on in this country, oh, that's not that bad. Like, you know,
Yeah, comparative. And,
like,
and
three
when you're not
people
close
died.
to it, you can't relate.
Yeah,
you can't even relate to
but
death if you're
knowing
not
the
going through it.
story has given me a lot of, you know, compassion towards people. I think that that's important that we have that we were aware when there's some crazy
That's
shit like
fucking
that, how to
crazy.
band together and how to help each other.
So, question: did you see the TV series, The People versus O.J. Simpson, and then the documentary that ran on the 3-part documentary that ran on that?
You know what's crazy? I haven't seen either one.
Okay, because like, what you're describing is kind of the same kind of thing. It's like the fictionalized version.
They
and
go
and
back.
the
They
real.
go together.
So you
now,
can,
I watched some of the O.J. Simpson like TV show they did with like John Travolta in it. And
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
that's what I'm
That
talking-
was
the-
like ridiculous.
the fiction.
You know,
Well-
that was funny to me.
Yeah,
But,
in some ways it was.
But I heard the documentary is great. I think the documentary is up for an Oscar. I haven't actually just sat and watched it yet because we watched it as it happened. So things like that, I was like, oh,
it's really good.
yeah.
I would say it's really good.
Yeah.
I can't remember anything, but I saw that movie, Something by the Sea. What's that called?
Manchester by the Sea.
Manchester by the Sea.
Did you like that?
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Oh, you did?
I
Really?
thought the acting was good. It's super slow.
Yeah, I thought it was boring.
It's like just a bummer the entire
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
It's a
and,
good.
and it's kind of boring. I saw Moonlight.
It's a good
too.
film.
I thought Moonlight. It's about a poor black gay man and him growing up, and it's actually
Mike could relate to that.
Yeah, I know.
Do they need a?
It's actually an interesting movie.
Body
There's
double
a lot
for
of
part two?
There's a lot of interesting elements in it, and there's a lot of So that's one of the ones that they're talking about for an Oscar.
Best Picture. I haven't seen
think,
that yet.
I look. Good luck. I hope. I would love to see more ethnic films get nominated and more ethnic films win. I'd love to see more.
Is that Denzel Washington or am I way off?
No, he did Fences though, and he's not.
Yeah, what's that?
I haven't seen that.
But I've only seen the preview where he's yelling at his kid.
A big issue in Hollywood a couple of years was racism and all these people are racist. And I always say well, man, I went to film school and there was one black guy in my class, and that one black guy makes movies now. He did The Wood, he did Dope. Rick Famuyiwa. I just wish there were more people of color in the film industry, and it's like I'm not keeping them out. I'd love to help them, make their films and be part of the system, because we can't only learn from the white sector, we have to learn from everybody, and I think
you
that
need diversity to get different stories out there.
Yeah, there's a movie called 13th, I think, is nominated for an Academy Award. That's on Netflix. That's a great documentary that everybody should watch about slavery and
what's it called?
13th.
There's another documentary too about
the one that did the girl that did. Is it the Selma?
Yeah.
Whoever directed Selma did this documentary.
Hidden Figures is out now too. I haven't seen that either.
Yeah, Hidden Figures is another one. It's about black female NASA scientists that actually helped the first space launch. Am I right?
Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, they were mathematicians.
Awesome. That kind of stuff is awesome. That's stuff in our history that is there and should be talked about.
There used to be, remember, in businesses had typing pools where you would write something up and you'd have somebody type it. This was the math pool.
Yeah. Huh. So what did they actually do with the math? They would have problems.
They would confirm the accuracy of the calculations.
Oh, gotcha. Fact checking,
basically. Yeah.
What about the McDonald's movie? That's coming out this weekend, right?
Michael Keaton.
Yeah, Michael Keaton.
What's the hell's that called?
The Founder. I
can't remember nothing.
So I think it's about. If I'm not wrong, the founder kind of stole McDonald's away from the.
Sort of.
But that's what everybody says, right? Like Pepsi snuck away from Coke because of some, recipe guy. Yeah.
Isn't the owner the
Ray Kroc?
Ray Kroc. That's who Michael Keaton plays.
Yeah.
And there was two McDonald's brothers,
started,
right?
In the 60s?
Right.
These two guys started it, and then Ray Kroc came in, took it over. And he's the founder, but he's not really the founder.
Yeah.
I think that part of that story, though, is that they didn't really want to go the direction that he wanted to go with franchising and all that stuff and really building it out. And so,
it's sort of like Silent Mike and Super Training. It's he'll be just.
I already have 5 gyms.
He's not going the right direction. It's see you later.
5 of them.
So he did stuff that they were not going to do, I think is really what it comes down to. It's not like he cheated them out of all of those millions and billions of dollars. It's that he took it in a direction that they were not going to go.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think their vision was a lot smaller. But being that my last name is McDonald, I know a little bit about this, but not a ton.
But you don't
related.
But you don't get the check in the mail.
I do not get a check. No.
No free McNuggets.
There are a lot of fucking McDonald's in the world that is.
What about the Rock movie? See that?
Moana?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh yeah, Moana was
Yeah,
good.
it was good.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
It was cool.
My kids saw it. They loved it.
It was like a pretty typical Disney movie where what's the other one I've seen recently? Zootopia was a little bit, like some of those.
I try to be a good uncle and tell his kids we're Thanksgiving. I'm let's go see Moana. So me and Lauren went and saw it by ourselves.
They didn't want to go.
The kids were like, it's gay.
They were
we
pissed.
don't see it. Yeah, they're all mad about it.
Then they went to see it and they left.
It was good.
That's for babies. You know, I'm come on, you guys are you're 12.
It was good, but it was more like typical Disney, where some of those other ones are more like Shrek or something with some adult humor and under a more serious.
It didn't have any really.
It didn't have anything.
Adults,
yeah, but it was good. It was a good story.
But when she put her shell on,
Yeah. You cried.
Everybody put a slab, right? A slab of rock. She put a giant shell so that nobody could go above her. So you got to remember that. She changed the entire.
She did
change the game.
Entire community. Remember that.
Or fucked it up.
Forever.
Yeah.
Or fucked it up forever.
Yeah.
What other movies you working on?
I am working on the Kratom documentary. That should be out in probably April or May.
Are we going to a fucking festival again?
Yeah, we'll
have
you know what? I don't know what festivals.
Let's get into a festival.
Let's go to
Sundance
Kratom.
is right now, right?
Sundance is happening this week.
My boy David So's there. Shout out to David So. I don't know.
Hey,
he
David
acted
So.
in something, but he's there.
So the idea is we're gonna do. I want to do this keto movie. The idea is to go back to Sundance with that. The real idea was right here was my master plan that didn't quite work out. I was going to do the World's Strongest Man movie, and I was going to bring it back to Sundance for the 10-year anniversary, bigger, stronger, faster. I was going to bring Stronger to Sundance, and we're going to do that. And then the guys that were supposed to put up the money, they all of a sudden they hide, when it's time to like write a check. So that's basically what happened with that. So I was working on a strongman documentary that might come back into play if I can, get the money people back involved.
It'll either resurface or it won't.
Yeah.
Have you seen Eddie Strongman?
I love Eddie's. Yeah,
The Eddie Hall movie?
Eddie Hall's movie was great.
That was really good.
Eddie Hall's a badass.
Eddie Hall's the man. Like, it's funny because people talk. Everybody talks in this business. Like behind. So I guess Eddie had heard that I was going to make a strongman documentary and thought I was going to make like a really biased, documentary towards Brian Shaw because Mark represents him. And I guess Half Thor thought the same thing. We've since been able to straighten that out with those guys because I think.
We will have Eddie Hall on this podcast this year.
Yeah,
I'd say that
they
movie
realize.
about it.
Well, the thing is that sport could be gigantic. That sport is very interesting. It's got a really cool element for kids. I think it just hasn't really been tapped as much as it can be. And I think that coming up, there's actually talk. This is just talk now. So William Morris represents me, and there's talk over at William Morris of this doesn't involve me, but like there's actually talk of bringing World's Strongest Man to a prime time and making it more like. Now, don't take this the wrong way. Making it more like. A good version of American Gladiators, like not like it's not going to be like Brian against a normal guy.
Yeah,
it's going to be strongman against strongman, but it's going to be big. It's going to be like
strongman on steroids.
Yeah, like on a state. Strongman on steroids.
Yeah, exactly. That's what.
Who knows what would work with strongman because the people that they have now are huge. They're literally giants, a lot of them, and you almost wonder like if they made like an under 250 class or under 240 class,
they have it.
Would
it's
that be
popular.
Yeah. But if they made
would it
that
get popular?
Yeah.
But if they made that popular, maybe people would identify. I know it's not pure strongman because the whole thing of strongman is like we don't care how big you are.
Yeah.
Like there's no limitations. You can be as big as you want, but what can you lift? But maybe something like that holds it back a tiny bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that maybe having like 2 or 3.
Like, oh man, I'm not genetically mutated.
I even think 3-weight classes. I think like I'd want to see what somebody like he could do, but he's not going to go against you.
Feels pretty good, right? Feel that.
He's actually gotten a lot bigger. I mean, he was like mini size before.
Strongman
Mini
on
size,
steroids.
Mike?
What do you weigh right now?
Like 220.
220. Yeah, and you weigh what?
How much can you lift?
280?
How much
You said
bench?
you could squat like 225.
Yeah. What do you weigh?
I'm gonna hop on your back.
280 this morning on the dot.
I have trouble.
Before or after poop?
Before.
Before poop.
What did
so
you
maybe
weigh,
you're
Jim
like
McDonald?
275.
215, 220, something like that.
215.
Yeah, I need to weigh less because I have no reason to be this size, except stress. I'm
How tall are you?
5'8".
At least you're taller than me. So
There you go.
You got me.
2 moments in that Eddie Strongman movie that just blew me away. One of them was when he was talking about the time that he spent away from his family due to work, and it's just him on camera. He pulls back and they racked the focus, so you can see that when he comes back into focus, he has tears in his eyes.
Yeah.
That killed me. That was just an amazing moment. And the other one, when he finally pulls the deadlift, and they run backwards. They did a backwards montage through it real quick.
Yeah.
That was another one.
I'll tell you what,
blew me
man.
away.
Matt Bell did that movie, and he did a great job with it. I only can imagine what we could do with like the caliber of saying like we want imagine Eddie's movie, but with 5 guys in it instead of just Eddie. How good
Stronger together than we are separately.
How good that could be.
Yeah.
How interesting that could be.
Right.
Because even just Eddie by himself is interesting, and fascinating.
He said "fuck" more times in that movie than I've heard in probably any movie that wasn't directed by Quentin Tarantino.
They say they use like cunt too, right? They just say like they'll call you like
Cunt is like
they'll be like, oh yeah, Smelly, he's a happy cunt. Like, it's like
Exactly.
It's like what? That doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. Like, they
better
just
than a
use it
sad
for-
cunt.
They actually use it for everything though. Like,
Yeah.
They just say it. Just I have a friend.
They say it
my
as much
friend,
as Brian Shaw says, to be fair.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Well, to be fair, when I'm pulling that truck, he always uses that.
I know, it's funny.
But my buddy Justin House, he just tells me like if I call you a cunt, it's like it means like you're my buddy. I'm like, oh okay.
Okay, dick face.
Yeah. Like I don't get it, but okay. The English, man, the English. They'll get you.
They
What
say
else
a
you
lot.
working on? You had a meeting. You had a big meeting the other day. You can't talk about all these different things or what? What do we got going on?
I don't know. You know what? I have
You're moving, you're shaking, but you're not talking about it.
So-called meetings, but I don't know if they're big or not. I mean, they just.
Why are you here? Let's
I
start
am-
with that.
You know why I'm here? Why I'm here is actually the most important the most important thing that I'm working on.
I mean, like on this earth. No, I was kidding.
I'll tell you, it's the most important thing I'm working on is a documentary about you. It's probably the thing I believe.
That's pretty cheap. That's the cheapest thing I've ever done. Hire my own brother. And my own friends to make a documentary.
You didn't
about.
hire anybody. Somebody's making a documentary on you, and they asked me if I can help them out. And so I think that's
there you go.
That's important is to help to if there's other people out there making movies about lifting, I want to be involved. I want to be able to give my 2 cents and help. And if it makes it better, then great. And if it makes it worse, then don't use what I told you. But I have a feeling like I've been doing this a long time, and I just kind of know how to do it. There's always, it's just like, when you walk in the gym and you grab the bar and like you just know how to do it. Right. And you're like, you wouldn't do it if you hadn't done it before. You wouldn't just walk in and start lifting. But for me, it just happens. It's like it's natural. Like I'm always curious about everything.
Bi-curious.
Bi-curious. Yeah.
Tri-curious.
I had a lot of guys in my life.
Tri-curious. Quad-curious.
Vicarious.
But seriously, you can ask Rosemary, ask her mom. I always had a ton of questions. I was always a guy that always questioned everything.
That's annoying.
How does that
I
work?
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Why? But why,
Quinn.
Mom?
Yeah, but why?
Yeah,
But why?
Quinn crushed us with that.
Yeah. So I'm like Quinn. I'm annoying like
the
Quinn.
The story goes that our guys over here, 8-man, those guys, they have a YouTube channel, and they've been making kind of mini documentaries on some different athletes in powerlifting. And they came to me. They threw some stuff together. Bada bing, bada boom. They threw together about a 30-minute clip, and they sent it over to you. And you were kind of like, oh, hold on a second. Maybe this is not really just a YouTube thing. Maybe this could be something bigger.
Yeah, I believe.
And so now here we are.
I think that your story is something that can inspire everybody. I feel like, you're my brother, but you're also the biggest source of inspiration. There's certain things goals I want to get to in my life.
I saved your life.
Well, look, have a family.
Couple times.
You have a great family. You have a great house. You have nice cars. You have nice things. Now, those are, the car and the house. Those are material things, but those things make life easier.
Absolutely.
They make life better. And so. Why not have those things when you deserve them? And I feel like, I've gone through a lot of shit in my life. I've gone through a lot of things, and now I feel like I deserve to get the perks when I help people.
Right.
To actually, I value myself now. And I think before I never valued myself. I didn't think of myself on the same level as as you were or somebody else was.
Yeah, you're not.
Yeah, I know. But for whatever reason,
But we are related and stuff, and you are my brother, but. You got help from me because you helped me get into this whole thing in the first place.
Yeah, but you don't realize
driving
that.
me because I didn't I was a lot younger. I didn't have a license to go to the gym and stuff like that. And you drove me to the gym all the time. Hung out with you all the time. I learned a lot from you. Learned a lot by example. When he was younger, he didn't drink and stuff, and so that was not
I didn't
anything.
Even make fun of him that bad.
That was
Mad Dog was a killer. Like
but that was a good example to me. I would go to parties with him. I'd hang out with him and his friends. All his friends were doing something stupid, smoking pot or drinking or whatever, and I never saw him ever do that in front of me. So I was like, well, seems like you can just hang out and have a good time. You don't need to be stupid to do it.
Yeah, and then the other thing was with him was that he was good at everything. So it was like really easy to bring your little brother along when he's going to smoke your best friend on a bench press. Oh, he's going to kill Anthony Pepe. You watch this. Anthony Pepe.
Fuck Anthony Pepe.
Fuck Ed Marta. What about, what's his name? Billy Winters.
He
had a friend named Billy Winters that was
looks exactly like Ryan Spencer.
He was built like a bodybuilder. Though.
What? My friend was
in 9th grade. He was shredded.
He was fucking jacked. It was crazy.
It's like
he had long hair.
Ryan Spencer's pretty jacked.
Everybody has that guy.
Ryan Spencer's very jacked.
That Poughkeepsie steroid water.
That's right. Yeah, but everybody has that guy in school that was like ripped for no reason. Did you have one? Steve Marchese in my high school, he was shredded. He's in. If you go watch Bigger,
the names
Stronger,
are
Faster,
so funny. I told
Bigger, Stronger, Faster. The title sequence goes bing, 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 and Bigger, Stronger, Faster comes up. That's Steve Marchese dressed as the Ultimate Warrior. He was that ripped in high school every single day.
Wow.
He was shredded all the time for no reason.
We had a guy on this interview thing that we did at the Fit Expo, a doctor that was working on my elbow, and he was saying I was the nerdy Asian kid that wouldn't let anybody cheat off my homework, and I got beat up all the time because I had a bowl cut. Yeah. And I was like, Jonathan Liu. I was like, you were in my school too. I used to beat the hell shit out of him all the time.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Oh yeah, we're playing dodgeball. All right, things are gonna even up now. Here we go.
Hey, won't let me cheat off your tests?
Yeah, fuck you for hiding all your shit.
Jonathan Liu.
And now he's working on your elbow. See,
I know.
He's working. He's working. It all comes back. They all work for you in the end.
I know.
Running an empire up here. Well, how's that going?
Everything's going good.
What's next? What's next for Super Training Gym?
We got a lot going on. We are traveling a bunch coming up.
That's rare. This is usually not a travel-conducive place.
Traveling a bunch. We're going to New York to interview Gary Vee. I'm super excited about that.
That's cool. He's great.
The guy who wrote Crush It, and hopefully we can get to
some
a few other big dogs.
I'll tell you, people are listening out there. If they don't know who Gary Vee is, they should know, because every one of my friends that lives in Los Angeles that's like super successful on their own,
right,
they've read that book.
Yeah.
You know, I've read that book. It doesn't as much apply necessarily to me because of what I do, but it does. You know, it kind of applies to everybody.
It's just all about hustle.
About hustling and marketing yourself.
Yeah.
And you know, it does apply to everybody, and it can actually help your social media grow. And if you're interested in making money, if your social media grows, the amount of money you make is going to grow too.
I think that the hardest part for anybody really is to keep your self-esteem up so that you keep moving forward, keep throwing yourself out there. And that book is very much set up toward that.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of self-esteem.
Yeah, and like you just sort of ride along his his emotional current.
I think you're right, though. I think a lot of it is about not giving up and just keep going. And
right.
I think a lot of people out there just give up so easy. You know, I heard on Shark Tank the other day. What was the guy from Starbucks? He tried 242 investors before somebody said yes. And he's like, imagine going to a guy. He's like 241. You're like, how fucking tired are you by 241?
Yeah, you've thrown it in by then.
To just even say, okay, I got this idea. It's a coffee shop.
Why do people want to overpay for coffee? I don't understand.
I don't get it. And why is it burnt? You're like, I don't get it. Like, so whatever. So
why is it burnt? It's a damn good question.
I don't know if that's part of the pitch.
Do you know why it's burnt?
No.
So
I think I
used
know
to the flavor.
Burnt. Yeah.
So you get used to that flavor. That's their flavor. That's a signature flavor.
Maybe not burnt. Maybe not be the right word.
That's what I've heard. That could be a rumor, but that's what I've heard. I heard it's like a
get addicted to
their signature flavor. It's a little burnt.
Yeah.
Well, like some places smell a particular way, and they actually will sometimes pipe the smell in because they're more likely to
just like super training,
more likely to buy.
That's like when Mad Dog wrestled the Undertaker, and they pipe in the smoke and the air conditioner. They crank the AC for like 20 seconds.
So it's cold.
It gets cool, and all the air comes in. It's like
that's amazing. I had no idea.
It gives everybody in the arena like a presence. Like, oh shit.
Exactly.
To Undertaker.
Yeah, I think the Undertaker actually does. Like, he actually makes that happen though. Like, I don't think it's
with his mind.
I don't think it's a trick. I think it's
he's
just
got
when
special powers.
It happens.
It's very likely. Any other questions for our guest here, everybody?
Nobody had any questions to begin with.
No, and all just answers. Just
talked about nothing.
A whole bunch of nothing.
I will circle back and say FODMAPs. If you're the kind of person like me who has issues with irritable bowel, one way or the other, check out the low FODMAP diet and see if it makes any difference for you. What I discovered, however, is that gluten-free flour that's made out of garbanzo beans is my kryptonite. It's really bad.
Guess what? I just talked to
really bad.
I just talked to a guy on the phone.
This seem to be rough.
This is great. I just talked to a guy on the phone, Dr. Dominic D'Agostino, who's down in South Florida doing all the research on keto.
That name makes me hungry. It seems like that guy
sounds like
he's going to make me a calzone or something.
Yeah. So he told me that he's working on a flour. He's pretty close to this flour that is ketogenic. I'm in. So when they can have a flour, because you understand what that means now. Now we can make, a sandwich keto. So that actually helps a lot. It's going to help a lot of people stay on that diet, stay on that plan if that's what they choose to do.
Pretty cool. Multiply your hustle, multiply your muscle, and may all your shits be tapered. I'm at Mark Smillybell on Instagram and Twitter. And we're going to do a lot of these podcasts from now on live on Facebook, so make sure you check it out just on my Facebook page.
Later.
Where can people find you, Boar?
At Big Strong Fast.
Everywhere.
At Big Strong Fast, Facebook.com/Boarbell, BOARBELL. Don't contact me though. Like, seriously.
Shout out to all our sponsors, 8Man Strong Apparel at 8manstrong.com, bodybuilding.com for all your supplement needs. Increase your bench press at howmuchyourbench.net. Power, the only strength magazine available digital and print. I'm Silent Mike, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter.
I'm at the Jim McD on everything right now. Follow the show on Instagram. We are at Mark Bell's PowerCast.
Thank you.
And one more sponsor to slide in here, Compex USA. Head over to CompexUSA.com. Use the code PowerCast. Get 28% off of everything but the lowest price model of muscle stim units.